I admit I done made some mistakes.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I admit I helped so many people, and them same damn people turn fake. I admit it was so hard to focus. I admit that I dropped out of school. I admit that I wasn't that cool. I admit I just feel like retiring. Admit I just don't feel like trying. But all my real niggas around me keep telling me, girls, fuck that you gotta keep trying. I admit it, I did. I done fuck with a couple of fads. I admit I'm a gift and a curse. I admit that I don't go to church. I admit it, I did. I admit it, I did. I admit it, I did. I admit it, I did it. I admit I got so many flaws. Told so many lies to these frauds. Do so much money, got so many problems. Yeah, I fuck a bitch just because. Nigga, I had a hell of a day, but I admit I was in my own way. I admit I had my mama crying over me. What else can a nigga say? I admit I can't spell the shit. I admit that all I hear is hits. I admit I couldn't read the teleprompter when the Grammys asked me to present. I admit I love God, but wait, it's so much temptation, but wait. Admit to the drinking and smoking too much, but it helped me get through the day. Won't say no names and not a stage, but one night at the Ritz, did some shit I should have did. Waiting for niggas bid. I admit that I did. I fucked my girlfriend's best friend. Yeah, I chopped that in back of my fence. I admit I'm sorry for my sins. I admit it, I did. I admit it, I did.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I admit it, I did it. I admit I trust people too much. I admit I can't say such and such, but lawyers told me settle this, even though it's bullshit. Can't even protect your career. All this week in my head. I admit I've been tempted back up. I admit that I just need a hug. I admit the devil talk to me sometimes, but the devil's not who I trust. I've been fucked by so many villains. Why they push me out front of these cameras? All this music got and data, and let it play me like a fucking amateur. I got a life, yeah, I got a right. That's so that shit ain't right. But they gon' say I don't respect these women, but no one does misrepresent. Take my career and turn it upside down, thinking that I got you. That week is where I'm going. They work this shit for me. Ain't seen my kids in years. Try to knock me up like it. How much can a nigga take? How much can a nigga break? Just wanna do my music, stop stressing me. Please just let me age gracefully. I admit it, I admit it. I admit it, I did. 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 They took my gift and they blind me. Where the fuck is my money? Now here come this big ass conspiracy. I still got my fans, that's a blessing. Listen to heaven, just stay on my grind and that's 24/7. And I know my mama Joanne is smiling down on me. I put that on reverend. Been a grown man since age 11. Down on the block since 7. Rest in peace to my homie Kevin. I admit it, I did. 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 Yeah, I admit I'm a freak. Used to go to strip clubs and eat. Who these niggas trying to say I am, man, I'm not, and I put that on G. I admit I fuck with all the ladies, that's old and young ladies. But tell me how they call it pedophile because of that shit, that's crazy. You may have your opinions, entitled to your opinions. But really, am I supposed to go to jail or lose my career because your opinion? Yeah, go ahead and stone. Point your finger at me. Turn the world against me. I'm gonna move me. I admit that I fired some people. I admit that I hired new people. I admit that those people I fired. Oh, my mama was good as PG. I admit that I don't know my music. I admit that I roll on my music. Want it, they don't wanna do it. What the fuck, nigga? I wrote that music. I was at Up Around. I did that 12 play. So I deserve me a fair play. Put some respect on my damn name. Only when you stand with me. I ain't never offer her no drink, but I admit that she asked me. Can I get a little Hennessy? We gon' turn off our phone. We drink, I smoke, we talk. I ain't gotta throw it off. My good faults are my faults. Say hush, say hush, say much, but I can tell you I've been set up. I'm a broke ass legend. John Legend, Tom Joyner, they're doing good in their lives right now. Why would they want to tear down another brother? When it shows lies, like that we go through. How can we get up off the ground? When we steady, tear each other down. I admit this is rain all night long. Didn't it all, didn't it all, my Lord? Didn't it rain? Didn't it rain, children? Rain all night long. Didn't it all? Didn't it all? Oh, my Lord. You can't run from it. You can't deny it. You can't pass it off. It's your call. God knew what he was doing. He knew who he was calling. And he expertly and intricately detailed every aspect of your life, your being, your persona, your psyche, your physicality, everything about you, from the texture of your hair to the color of your eyes to the way that you laugh to the fingerprint on your thumb. Everything is connected to your calling. And until you walk into the fullness of the thing that you were created for, you will find yourself frustrated. You're called. Same love, grown folk, not internet views. So tonight we celebrate, no stress, no delay. And everybody else I couldn't name. Real love, don't pretend. Same circle, same to the end. When you say it loud, we with you. Dream team, hey, dream team. One heart, one soul. Day-to-day love, don't ever fall. Yeah. Dream team is for all of y'all. Yeah. Dream team is for all of y'all. Yeah. Dream team is for all of y'all. Yeah. Dream team. You already know, huh? Dream team for life, for God. Dream team for life, for God. Dream team for life, for God. Say just music. Man, you already know, every note reminds me of a different time in my life. They don't know what to do. Behind the stage, behind the fame. I'm just in the man while the world is saying name. Praying that you hear say the chase song. Trying to separate the noise from what was right and what the fence and what went wrong. We miss you, driver. We miss your soul and your sound. We miss you since you ain't been around. We've been hurt, watching let it fade away. We're Robert. I wish I could take the pain away. Oh, control. Everybody got a fucking opinion. But don't nobody seem to see your goddamn pain. I know you ain't robbing. The state's heavy weight. How quiet you got. When your music used to be so vibrant. Used to vibrate.
Let's go. Oh, yo, cry. Mm, uh, 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 mm-hmm. Shout out, shout out. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Um, yo, can y'all hear me? Yo, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me talking? 1, 2, 1, 2. Can y'all hear me talking? Boom, 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 boom. Yo, can y'all hear me talking? Can y'all hear me talking? Hold on, let me see something. Can y'all hear me talking? Okay, okay, cool, 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 cool. As long as y'all can hear me talking. So, real quick, I'm gonna jump on here real quick. We're gonna talk about some things. We're gonna look, man, it's a lot going on. A lot going on. But I'm gonna start off with the R. Kelly joint. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start off with the R. Kelly joint. Um, a lot of people ain't gonna stick around. Um, so so when the numbers fluctuate, don't worry about it. A lot of people ain't gonna stick around because we're gonna talk about some Trump. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about some Trump stuff. So you know a lot of people ain't gonna stick around for that. Like, oh hell no, nah, no, we don't talk about that guy. Oh hell no, we don't talk about that guy. I don't know why, but I want to talk about it. A lot of things that goes on, that's going on, needs to be talked about, and I think people are scared to talk about a lot of things. So y'all know me. I'm going to pull it out. I'm gonna make people upset. I don't care because at the end of the day, you know it is what it is. So with that being said, shout out to everybody that's here. Dream Team, y'all, how y'all doing? You can like, share, subscribe. Um, all that is, voluntarily, but please hit that like button. Violate me, y'all, by hitting that like button. So we're gonna go down this rabbit hole real quick, and we're gonna read some paperwork involving Robert Sylvester Kelly. So let's go here. United States of America versus Robert Sylvester Kelly et al. Notice of withdrawal of counsel. Please take notice that Assistant United States Attorney Megan DeMarco is no longer assigned to the above captioned case. This matter is complete and no further proceedings are anticipated. Pause. Pause. And when people wanted to know what I got mad about yesterday, here it is. It says, please take notice that the Assistant United States Attorney, Megan DeMarco, is no longer assigned to the above captioned case. This matter is complete and no further proceedings are anticipated. Accordingly, no new Assistant United States Attorney will be assigned to this matter. Should government counsel be required for further proceedings, please contact the Chief of the Criminal Division, United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois at 312-353-5300 or via email. Respectfully submitted, Andrew S. Boutros, United States Attorney, by Megan DeMarco, right? So yesterday was the deadline that Robert Sylvester Kelly counsel, Bo Brindley, was supposed to submit something, right? So he waited to the last second just to submit this. Unopposed motion for extension of time to file reply brief comes now defendant Robert Kelly by and through counsel Bo B. Brindley, and hereby moves this honorable court to extend the filing deadline for Mr. Kelly's reply brief by 30 days. In support of his motion, Mr. Kelly provides as follows. Mr. Kelly's reply brief in support of his motion for a new trial is due on January the 5th, 2025. In recent weeks, the undersigned and his office have been engaged in extensive trial preparation for the case of United States versus Larry, case number 23C-R17, before the Honorable Judge Ness. The Larry trial began this morning and is anticipated to last approximately 2 weeks. Due to the extensive trial preparation and ongoing trial, Mr. Kelly respectfully requests that he be allowed an additional 30 days to file his reply brief. The United States, through AUSA Jason Julian, has indicated that it does not oppose Mr. Kelly's request for an extension. Wherefore, Mr. Kelly respectfully requests that this honorable court extend the filing deadline for Mr. Kelly's reply brief by 30 days. Respectfully submitted by Bo B. Brindley, attorney for the defendant. I'm trying to be respectfully remorseful. Or I'm trying to be respectfully understanding when it comes to stuff like this. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if that's the case, let's be real. I don't want to say nothing to make nobody mad, but this should have been done before the deadline approached. You ain't just wake up and figure out you just needed more time. This just sounds like a stalling tactic so that way they can get whatever they wanted to get done. This is not cool. This is not something that you just want to do. This is not something that you just telling people, okay, we going to do this now. Okay, and we're going to do it like this. That's not cool at all, man. That's not cool at all. Again, at the end of the day, I believe I believe that Robert needs more respect than this. And the weird part about it all is that you got people that sit back and say, free R. Kelly, free R. Kelly. And honestly, they never really meant free R. Kelly. They always meant, let's go align my pockets. And then when people like me and Prima Donna, and we come out and start saying stuff like this, it's like, oh no, oh, you can't say who's for R. Kelly and who's not. Why can't we if we watching you extort different people. We watching you and manipulate the not so fast people on your channels. And we looking at you double talk. Man, listen, we ain't going with none of that. We ain't going. And we going to say what we want to say. And we going to put everything in front of your face, whether it be a video, whether it be a live, whether it be whatever. We going to put it in your face. And it's up for y'all to decide what y'all want to do with it. Because technically, I'm going to be honest with you. I can give you content 24/7 laughing at these people. I can do it every day, laughing at these people. And when I say laughing, I mean I can literally humiliate the hell out of these people. But for what? They already stupid. They already dumb. They already old. They already slow. So what's the point of me doing it? At the end of the day, it's nothing for me to really say anymore, other than just giving you facts of what's going on. It's nothing that Prima can say no more, except for just giving you facts of what's going on. And I'm up here tonight. I'm in my room. I'm in my main man cave room, where I just, be putting pen to paper. I'm doing something, but I had some projects that I had to work on. So I was like, look, let me just go ahead and just jump on it from here and just do what I need to do. And the weird part about it is going live from another computer is wild. It's wild. Especially when you ain't been on it in a while and you just looking at stuff, you like, oh, okay, I did this right here, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. Yeah, it's crazy. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. If you stand for Robert Spencer Kelly, rock with Robert Spencer Kelly. So what I did do, I did consult counsel today, not Bo Brinley. Not Bo Brinley. Nah, I can't do it, man. I know most people be like, Dana, you can't act like that. Nah, I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's so much that I know that I'm not saying. It's so much that I wish I didn't know. So that way I wouldn't have to worry about it. But I just can't do it, man. I just can't do it. I'm not that guy that's going to be fronting in your face and all this. Nope, not me. Nope, not me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a little bit for the new people who don't know what's really going on when it comes to kills. I'm gonna let Dr. Umar break it down for you and give you a little bit. All right, check this out. Dr. Umar, tell us what you think.
Waits 40 and 50 years to tell on a black man who sexually abused him. They going to the cops that same night. You don't wait 40 years because he didn't take advantage of him. But because him and Camille Cosby didn't want to let the white oil company drill under their house in Massachusetts, they decided to bankrupt him through the courts with the sexual allegations to eventually force him to sell the house so the oil company could get the oil. Bill Cosby went to jail for oil. R. Kelly in jail.
But wait a minute. Nobody's talking about that, but they talking about Trump going over Venezuela and getting a war criminal. Make this make sense. This is why I say we got a bunch of ham-bone people running around. And if people know what I'm talking about, they're going to be like, don't you mean Uncle Tom? No, I mean ham-bone. And then we got a lot of Sambo. And because why we ain't talking about the oil company that trying to take Bill Cosby's house? Listen to it again.
Waits 40 and 50 years to tell on a black man who sexually abused him. They going to the cops that same night. You don't wait 40 years because he didn't take advantage of him. But because him and Camille Cosby didn't want to let the white oil company drill under their house in Massachusetts, they decided to bankrupt him through the courts with the sexual allegations to eventually force him to sell the house so the oil company could get the oil. Bill Cosby went to jail for oil. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters. Whitney Houston is dead because she was going to order an audit on her earnings. She wanted her publishing back and she wanted her masters back. Michael Jackson is dead because he didn't want to give the Beatles catalog back. Prince is dead because he didn't want to give his unpublished music to a certain music company. None of this is happening for the reason they tell you. Yeah. This is about power and control of resources. The greatest trick the devil.
The
greatest trick published music to a certain music company get the oil. Bill Cosby went to jail for oil. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters. Jail for oil. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters oil. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters oil. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters. R. Kelly in jail because he didn't want to give a certain music company his masters.
So it's never about those so-called victims. But let's listen.
How did he develop blood clots in his legs and in his lungs that quickly? I believe R. Kelly's medication is intentionally, with deliberate intent, he's being given meds to cause blood clots in his legs and in his lungs. I absolutely believe that. Now check this out, Art. R. Kelly's attorney, Bo Brinkley, says that Duke University Hospital wanted to keep R. Kelly an extra 7 days. They wanted to perform a medical procedure to address his blood clots. Within an hour after deciding that he needs to stay there for an extra week, Art, he says prison police bust into the room armed with AR-15 rifles, Art. They came into the hospital with AR-15 rifles and took R. Kelly back to the jail and gave no explanation at all to the doctors. R. Kelly is in solitary confinement right now with blood clots in both legs and in his lungs, and the prison police would not allow him to remain at the hospital any longer to get the help that he needed. They want him dead, Art. Then check this out. Before the overdose incident, Bo Brinkley learned from R. Kelly that he was approached by a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. And this member of the Aryan Brotherhood, who allegedly struggles with terminal cancer, was offered a contract for freedom if he would unalive R. Kelly. He would be released from prison and he would spend whatever time left he has in life on the outside with his family. He couldn't do it, Art. He couldn't do it, so he approached R. Kelly and said, they came to me with this offer to take you out. He said, I didn't accept it, but they will be passing this on to somebody else, whether it's in my gang, whether it's in another gang. Somebody in this prison is going to be paid to take you out of here. Now, why do they want R. Kelly unalived? According to his attorney, Bo Brinkley, the U.S. attorneys, the Department of Justice, and the Bureau of Federal Prisons engaged in criminal behavior, Art, during the investigation of R. Kelly's 2021 conviction in New York for sex trafficking and R. Kelly's 2022 conviction in Chicago for child pornography. His lawyer claims, he alleges, that the government engaged in criminal corruption and conspiracy during the investigation to make sure R. Kelly would go to jail. He says that if he and his client are given an opportunity to expose the criminal behavior of the U.S. Attorney's Office, R. Kelly's conviction will be overturned and he will go free. This is what his lawyer alleges, Art. However, the music industry cannot let R. Kelly go free. Why? Because they don't want R. Kelly to expose them, and they don't want R. Kelly to regain control over his music. What does R. Kelly, Prince, and Tupac Shakur have in common? Not only were two of them murdered partially by the music industry, and a third, God forbid, is right now having his life attempted on by the music industry in collaboration with the government, and there's really no separation there because white power is white power. But what they have in common, Art, these are three artists who are known to have as much unpublished music as they had published music. Are you following me? Tupac's death was partly desired because they had so much money they still stood to make off of Tupac's unreleased music. Prince's death was partially desired because they had so much unpublished music that they could steal from Prince. And R. Kelly, same thing. R. Kelly, like Prince and Tupac, was a workaholic. He has all kinds of unpublished material. And what did R. Kelly lawyer assert back in 2022, Art? When he first went to jail, right before or right after his New York conviction, and right after his Chicago conviction. In 2022, R. Kelly told the media through his lawyer that hundreds of his master recordings, Art, for his unreleased music were stolen from his home and studio. Let me say that again. In 2022, right around the time he's convicted and sentenced, R. Kelly finds out that hundreds of his unreleased master recordings were stolen from his home and studio. And then what do we find, Art? That some of R. Kelly's music was found on some of the major streaming platforms without his submission and without his permission. How in the hell did the streaming platforms get music from R. Kelly that he never gave them? And then what else happened in 2022, Art? An album that R. Kelly didn't even create called I Admit was released in 2022, and it was quickly pulled from the shelf, and Sony Records, which is the parent company of RCA, who picked up R. Kelly after he was dropped from Jive, claimed no responsibility for the mysterious release of the I Admit album in 2022 while R. Kelly was in jail. We also know that before R. Kelly got convicted, he was in a tug of war with his parent company, Art, for not being properly compensated for his music. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, brother, this sounds just like Prince. What happened with Prince? In 2014, Prince gets his master recordings back. He'd been fighting for his master recordings for years. And then all of a sudden, he gets his master recordings back in 2014, Art, and he's dead by 2016. They trying to take R. Kelly out because they do not want to give him his music back. They've already stolen too much of it. They already owe him money that they never paid him. They don't want him to expose the music industry, and they don't want to get sued by R. Kelly. This takes me to Angie Stone. The Angie Stone R. Kelly situation are very similar. What did Angie Stone say in December 2024? Angie Stone did a live where she said her parent company owed her royalties that they had not paid her. She said they owed her multiple millions of dollars. And she said she was going to get her money and expose the label. I'm going to get my money and I'm going to expose the label. And then that was in December 2024. February 28th, Art, Black History Month, final day. She's performing in Alabama. March the 1st, she's driving with her entourage to the next destination. And all of a sudden, they get into an accident. And the media reports that Angie Stone dies in a car accident. And she's the only member of her entourage who dies in the car accident. And then we find out, Art, that she didn't die in the car accident. A snow bunny helped her out of the car. Because Angie Stone was discombobulated, according to the woman who helped her out, she told her to sit on the side of the road. Look at this, Art. Sit on the side of the road. As soon as she tells Angie Stone to sit on the side of the road, an 18-wheeler crosses the median on the highway, Art. An 18-wheeler crosses the median on the highway and runs Angie Stone over, killing her and nobody else. Help me understand, Art, what are the chances that you get into a car accident, you climb out? So the first attempt was unsuccessful, Art. The first attempt was unsuccessful. She was supposed to be unalived in that accident. She climbs out. You know how we know that? Because the media had already reported she passed in a car accident, Art. The media had already reported it. So then, and you know, the media already gets the news. Okay? When the Honorable Marcus Garvey died in England, Art, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, father of modern Pan-Africanism, greatest organizer of all time of any race. The newspaper reported he was deceased before he was deceased, which is why some people believe that Mr. Garvey was poisoned. And that's why he died on June 10th, 1940. I'm just drawing a parallel here. The media reported that Angie Stone died in a car accident, but she wasn't dead. They were told to report that because those who arranged for her murder did not think that the first attempt could go wrong. But you always have backup at that level, Art. So to make sure she didn't get out of that situation alive, after she climbed out the car, the totaled car, she sat on the side of the road with the assistance of a Caucasian woman. An 18-wheeler, just so happens, Art, crosses the median and runs our sister over, taking her life and nobody else's. That is not a coincidence. R. Kelly is in the same situation as Angie Stone. The only difference between Angie Stone and R. Kelly is more popular, has more music, and is owed more money. Angie Stone was free as you can be in a racist society. R. Kelly is trapped in solitary confinement. Look at Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez gets stabbed, 14 times? And right before Tory Lanez, and prayers to Tory Lanez, blessings to Tory Lanez, blessings to his family. I see his father is a real strong fighter. Now, let me say this, Art, because when I don't know something, I don't know something. As far as the back and forth going on as to whether or not Tory Lanez pulled the trigger that shot Megan in the toe, whether it was Kelsey, I can't get into that. I don't know enough about that. If I don't know, I don't know. If he's innocent, he need to be released. If he did it, I still don't think he should have got 10 years because it wasn't an attempt on a life. But that's just me. Anyhow, I'm not going to deal with that part. But I'm going to deal with this part. Is it a coincidence, Art, that days before he gets stabbed up, days before, he submits an appeal to have his case retried? Is that a coincidence? I don't think it is. Also, mind you, Tory Lanez, similar to a Tupac Shakur, not Tupac, but similar. He's in prison, politicizing the inmates, and he's helping them, even paying his own money out of his own pocket, Art, helping them fund their freedom for false convictions and errors made by their attorneys that got them locked up when they shouldn't have been. Because as you know, most cases are plea bargain because we can't afford legal representation. So Tory Lanez is in here helping inmates get their freedom. We know that he was an independent artist. We know the major labels do not like independent artists because being a successful independent artist let other artists know you don't have to go to the majors. That undermines their authority over music. So the major music companies had a vested interest in Tory Lanez being taken out. And the prison system, which means the U.S. government, has a vested interest in Tory Lanez being taken out. Why, Art? Because in California, an inmate is worth $133,000 a year. $133,000 a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
So Tory Lanez helping them get out is undermining the bottom line of the prison system. They don't want him out. Now, he's not back at the same prison. He was transferred to another prison. And of course, we're going to wait and see what his appeal says. I can't speak to Megan. I can't speak to Kelsey. I can't speak to Tory on the conviction because I don't know what happened in that car. But what I do know, what I feel in my heart, his stabbing was not just a case of a prison beef. I believe that came from somewhere else. I absolutely believe that. The timing, Art, doesn't add up. And the fact that he helping them brothers get out, $133,000 a year per inmate, I'm sure the California prison system isn't happy about that. So look at Angie Stone, look at Tory Lanez, and now let's look at R. Kelly. When you put R. Kelly's situation in the context of Angie Stone and Tory Lanez, and he was more successful than them both. Of course, Tory is too young, right? He's still young, up and coming. But R. Kelly is a bigger name, or was a bigger name, than Tory Lanez and Angie Stone put together. So if you can believe that they unalived Angie Stone over music and unpaid royalties, and that they would attempt to take Tory Lanez out of here because they don't want him publishing independent music, then you clearly have to come to the conclusion that R. Kelly is not exaggerating. His attorney is not exaggerating. They are trying to take R. Kelly out of here because he is too much of a risk to the music industry. And they would be better off without him because, as we all know, deceased artists are worth more money. And if they already stole hundreds, R. Kelly's lawyer said they stole hundreds of his master recordings. How many does he have? How much music does R. Kelly have sitting around, Art? Because you know, he got the 30 years from New York, sex trafficking, 20 years from Chicago, child pornography. They run concurrently, right? His earliest release time is 2045. R. Kelly is about 56, 57. So he wouldn't get out at the earliest, Art. At the earliest, he wouldn't get out until he's 77 years old. If he gets out early. If he don't get out early, he ain't coming out till he in his 80s, Art. They need him to stay in prison as long as possible. And that's why his lawyer is having such a difficult time, Art, trying to reopen his case so that the court can look at how the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Bureau of Prisons in the Department of Justice engaged in criminal conduct in investigating the R. Kelly case. If they can prove that, he gets released, Art. The case gets overturned. The music industry cannot afford it. And let me give you this, Art. A lesson to black people, because we had this conversation a couple interviews ago. But to underscore my point that they're using R. Kelly and Sean Combs as a distraction away from white people with similar accusations, when R. Kelly was going through his trial and conviction in 2021 and 2022, Art, guess what else was happening in the world? The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops had put out a call to survivors of Catholic Church sex abuse to file complaints. And in 2021, the same year as R. Kelly's conviction, they reported that they had received over 4,000 complaints from survivors, Art. 4,000 complaints from nearly 4,000 survivors of Roman Catholic child sex abuse. In the same time they report that, R. Kelly gets convicted. France came out in 2021, the country of France, and said they had over 200,000 cases of child sex abuse. 2021, the same year R. Kelly gets convicted. And then Spain came out, and Spain said they had 216,000 child sex abuse cases, Art. Look at that. You're talking about 200,000, 216, that's 416, another 4,000. That's 420,000 cases, Art. 420,000 cases of child sex abuse from the Roman Catholic Church being reported, and all of a sudden R. Kelly goes to trial, gets convicted, and goes to jail. And to help distract the public from what was going on in the Roman Catholic Church, what did they do on January 3rd, 2019, Art? They dropped Surviving R. Kelly. Remember that? They dropped Surviving R. Kelly to make sure they had your attention so nobody could focus on the travesty unfolding in the Roman Catholic Church. And then what did they do again in 2020, Art? They dropped Surviving R. Kelly a second time. Part 2. January of 19, Part 1. January of 20, Part 2. R. Kelly convicted in New York, 2021. R. Kelly convicted in Chicago, 2022, Art. And guess what? That's why that black cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church, Art, was not voted the next pope of the Roman Catholic Church. His name is Cardinal Robert Sarah. He's from Guinea in West Africa. You've probably seen him. Do you know who I'm talking about? The black pope that everybody says should have been the next pope? Yes, Cardinal Robert Kelly, who lives in Rome, Art. He's the number one ranking, or one of the top ranking, cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church. Although he's from Africa, he's been living in Guinea since 2001, Art. 24 years. He lives right there. And guess what? They don't give him the Pope job. Instead, they come all the way to Chicago. They come all the way to Chicago, and they choose their first American Pope who has a history of doing what, Art? Covering up child sex crimes in the Roman Catholic Church. Allegedly. It was reported, allegedly, that the new Pope has a history of covering up child sex crimes. You know why they didn't give Cardinal Robert Sarah that popeship, Art? He would have cleaned house. He would have cleaned house. Anybody who was guilty of touching children, he was going to strip them of their rank and put them out the church. Not just take their title. You're out of the church. They couldn't let that black man. He probably would have made the Roman Catholic Church pay reparations for slavery. He probably would have gave Africa back all the artifacts that they stole. They couldn't let, you will never get a black bishop. You will never get a black pope, Art. They cannot allow, even though the first popes in history were black. The first ones were black, but you'll never get any more black ones. They can't afford for the corruption of the Roman Catholic Church to be exposed. R. Kelly was a mule for the media to distract the world away from the Roman Catholic Church child sex abuse scandal. Do you know what they can do with his music art? I want to know how many unreleased master recordings he got. Because if he said they stole hundreds, at least I think it was at least 100 of them, Art, at least 100. How much music you got, bro? How much music? And then for an album to come out, Art, in 2022, I admit, with music he never released, and then his songs is playing on the streams, and then before he gets convicted, he's fighting y'all because y'all not paying him what he's due, and y'all not trying to give him his masters. And here's the thing, Art, just like Tory Lanez, check this out. Tory Lanez is an independent artist. Well, guess what, Art? In 2019, when Surviving R. Kelly comes out, RCA Sony drops R. Kelly. You know what that means? R. Kelly is an independent artist. R. Kelly is an independent artist. They can afford for him to get out and produce his own music and sue them for all the back money and back masters recordings that he's owed. R. Kelly right now is in the same position as Prince and Michael Jackson. More appropriately, Prince. He's in the same position as Prince right now. You're worth more to us unalived than alive. And I hope that he survives this. Whatever crimes he did against children, Art, he got to pay for that. He got to pay for that. If you urinated on that child, you stay in jail till you 80. If you ever get out. I'm serious about that. No child should ever be abused. So I'm not saying we letting him off the hook for that. I'm saying his life should not be taken for the benefit of a racist white music industry. That's all I'm saying. Because I believe he has children. He at least has family. He need that money to take care of his family. He got a community in Chicago. He need his money to take care of his Chicago. He can still take care of his business behind prison walls, but he should not be murdered for his music. He was not sentenced to die for his music. And therefore, I separate the two things.
Wow. That was deep. That was real deep. But I seen people coming in talking, and I went over to see what was really going on. And check it out. United States of America, the plaintiff versus, wait a minute. They ain't even put Robert name up here. They just put et al. It's like, wait a minute. It's like they don't even care no more. That's an error you can't make on a docket. They don't even care no more. So it says notification of docket entry. This docket entry was made by the clerk on Tuesday, January the 6th, 2026. Minute entry before the Honorable Martha M. Packold as to Robert Sylvester Kelly, defendant's unopposed motion for extension of time to file reply brief. 527 is granted. Defendant's reply to his motion for new trial, 498, is due by 2/4/2026. So by February the 4th, 2026, the motion should be in. However, I think Bo Brinley should have this motion in on 2/3/2026. Put it a day before. So that way, if you do it a day before, can't nobody say nothing. But if you do it on a day of, man, trash, man. I don't have no faith in Bo Brinley no more. I'm over it. I'm tired of Bo Brinley. Because with Bo Brinley, it feels like it's a cliffhanger. And what I still want to know is why nobody is coming out dogging Bo Brinley the way they tried to dog Bonjean. That's what I want to know. Why nobody coming out dogging Bo Brinley and the way they tried to dog Bonjean and everybody else? I'm just saying. I agree with you, Queen B. What up, Queen B? So, like I told y'all, and before, we're going to pray for Robert. We're going to keep Robert going. We're going to keep him motivated. Let's keep in prayer. Let's keep God in it. But I want to clock some tea real quick. I want to clock people's tea real quick. Because when I told y'all before that Roe versus Wade was not a real situation, folks told me I didn't know what I was talking about. They said, Dana, you don't know what you're talking about. Because Roe versus Wade is a real lawsuit. I never said it wasn't a lawsuit, but I said that Roe versus Wade wasn't a real person. And they said, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So let me clock some tea real quick. Then I told y'all the person that lied and said her name, and the person that lied and said her name was one thing, it's something else. So when I told y'all the person that said her name was Roe, there is no goddamn Roe. But Roe that we know today have a friend that helped her prosecute the case to get that case put in so that way people can get abortions. Guess who Roe friend is? This is what I'm gonna do. If you can tell me who Roe friend is, right? Doug Anton is not in the bushes. What are you talking about? If you could tell me who Roe friend is, that's a lawyer, I throw a gift in there to you. Can somebody tell me who Roe friend is? That's a lawyer that helped lie for Roe to prosecute. And I don't want to play the clip just yet because then y'all gonna know. So can y'all tell me who Roe friend is? The imaginary Roe. Queen B said, Mr. Anton, your expertise and help is needed, sir. Oh, my phone dead, so I can't text him. So I would have texted him for y'all. But can y'all tell me who Roe friend is? Somebody said Devils. Well, Margaret Sanger. No. That's what you get for trying to Google it. No. Margaret Sanger is not Roe friend. And definitely is not Roe lawyer. Try it again, Max. Let's take a listen to who Roe friend is.
Jane Roe's story was a terrible one. She said she had been gang raped, gotten pregnant, was desperate to get an abortion. That's what everyone believed as long as Jane Roe remained anonymous. When she went public, she told a different story.
You were raped while you were in Georgia?
No, I wasn't.
You were not?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, so all those stories that are in the books and so forth are not true?
Yes, sir. Yes.
They're not true.
Right.
And it turned out that lying was.
This is Margaret Sanger right here. Right? But who is this? Who's Roe? Can somebody tell me who Roe is? I'm trying to figure out if y'all know. If y'all been watching me, y'all know who Roe is. I said it, damn it. Queen B, hold on. But I'm gonna see what you said. I gotta check some. Doug Anton, where you at? Now Doug don't know I'm live. And he asked me was I going live today too. I told him no. Queen B said Jane Rose Singford. Watch this. Who is Jane Rose Singford now, Queen B? What is her name? Or should I ask you, what is her new name? What is Roe's new name?
Isn't the only embarrassment this darling of the pro-choice forces presented. In her personal treatise published last year, Norma McCorvey told the story of her somewhat sordid life. Then she still adamantly supported abortion. Now she adds that to the list of sins she took with her into the baptismal pool.
I've cheated people out of money. I've sold drugs. I was an abusive alcoholic for, many, many years. I've done a lot against his teachings. That I think the far greater sin that I did was to be the plaintiff in Roe versus Wade.
The biggest lie she ever did was became the plaintiff in Roe versus Wade. So, I done threw y'all all off course. I done threw y'all around the bus. I done threw y'all on the bus, and y'all still ain't catch it. Her lawyer is Gloria Allred, the #1 lawyer that go after men, because Gloria Allred is that lady's best friend. Gloria Allred is that lady's best friend. Now, this is where people who don't want to deal with this side of the tracks, y'all can just have a nice day, because I know y'all going to say, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to hear it. But, and before I go there, I'm going to give y'all a little teaching on Margaret Sanger. I'm going to let y'all hear how she really feel. Okay? I'm going to let y'all hear. Now, here you go. Check it out.
Do you believe in sin? When I say believe, I don't mean believe in committing sin. Do you believe there is such a thing as sin?
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin that people can commit.
But sin in the ordinary sense that we regard it, do you believe or do you not believe?
Well, what would they be?
Do you believe that infidelity is a sin?
Well, I'm not going to specify what I think is sin. I've stated what I think is the worst sin.
Yes, but then you asked me to say what, and I said what, and you refused to answer me?
Yes, I don't know about infidelity. It has so many personalities to it, and what a person's own belief is. I couldn't generalize any of those things.
Do you believe in sin?
That's the most craziest thing that I've ever heard come from a woman. That's the most craziest thing that I've heard come from a woman. I'm going to say it again. That's the most craziest thing that I've heard come from a woman. And it's scary. That women and some men think like that. So wait a minute. So today is January the 6th. And the truth came out about Nancy Pelosi organizing January the 6th. However, let's go down the rabbit hole. Look, they will not play it. So Eric put up, wow, the fake news is refusing to report this footage of Nancy Pelosi saying, I take responsibility for National Guard not being present on January 6th on the 5th year anniversary. Instead, they pinned it on Trump, chronic liars. And you can't play it. So, watch this. You can't play none of the stuff. California fraud bombshell just dropped. Whistleblowers expose up to $250 billion in taxpayer theft across the state. Fake community college apps, scamming student aid, pay to play in K through 12, and endless waste abuse. $250 billion stolen while Newsom swamp. Hold on, let me see. While Newsom swamp parties on. This is beyond criminal. It's treason against taxpayers. Elon Musk called it. California's rot is deeper than Minnesota's. Time to unleash Doge, slash the waste, jail the grifters, remove Gavin Newsom, radical reform now, right? Now watch this. This is one of the things that they don't want you to see. Now, they say that MAGA did it, MAGA this, MAGA that, MAGA this. But listen to this. Check this out.
They set us the fuck up. That's what they did. They set us up. They set up 64.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they asked y'all to come 2 hours later. They set us up.
They needed everybody right away.
Nah, right away. They set us the fuck up. So now we ain't got shit. We ain't got a motherfucking thing. They set us the fuck up. Let them take this motherfucker. Shit.
I'm hot. Here, you need water? Nah, here.
So you hear what's going on, right? You see, and they taking down all videos. Look, they taking down all videos. I can't believe this. Hold on. I ain't lose connectivity now. Hold on. With you. Hold on. Watch this. Let me get this back. This is sick. Here we go. I told you I ain't gonna play no games with you. When Maduro got captured, and this is why I tell people the Maduro situation was worse than what anybody know. When Maduro got captured, right? The politicians over there got mad because they was promised that Maduro would never be captured. They was promised that, right? Hold on. I gotta go back to it. Where is that? Oh, come on. Come on. But that was the list. It was 13 rhinos, which is what people call Republicans. It was 13 rhinos and 49 Democrats. Hold on, I gotta get to that. Hold on, let me go home. Let me go home. Let me do it like this. Because I know I got it. I got it. I'll come back to that. I got it. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna show y'all all this. Because this was my live for the day. To show y'all all this. Everything that y'all have to see. Because I don't want to leave nobody in the dark. I don't want to leave nobody messed up. Damn it. Where's it? Oh, that's an old live. They lives. They all, oh no. Okay, go back this way. Oh no. I got it for you. All right. This right here, Jobber Value Center. This is the listed location of the auditing firm that performed the audits for both the Minnesota and Ohio on the NGOs we have linked to potential fraud. This a Jobber Value Center, but on the but right here say H&H Barkhead. This is a value center place. This is a second. It's a mom and pop store. So watch this. They talk about Trump going to Venezuela, right? I just want to remind some people that in Syria, Obama dropped 12,192 bombs. In Iraq, he dropped 12,095 bombs. Libya, 496 bombs. Yemen, 35 bombs. Somalia, 14 bombs. Pakistan, 3 bombs. 26,172 bombs for a total of 3 bombs every hour. Now check this out.
These are the countries that Obama bombed in his final year of office. Syria, 12,192 times. Iraq, 12,095 times. Libya, 496 times. Yemen, 35 times. Somalia, 14 times. And Pakistan, 3 times. 26,172 bombs for a total of 3 bombs every hour of every day in only 1 year. These are the countries that Obama bombed in his final year.
So with that being said, I ain't trying to hear nothing that people are saying about Trump dropping like 5 bombs and then going to go get, a Maduro. But check this out. Let's listen to Chuck Schumer backtrack. Watch this.
He brags about all these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big policy there. It flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace, or at least waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime. The Maduro regime is more powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began.
So what can the Congress do about it is the next question.
Well, the next question is very simple. And that is that we have the War Powers Act. That's a privilege resolution, which means the Republicans can't block it. Tim Kaine and I and Rand Paul are sponsors of it. It's going to come to the floor this week. And if it is voted for, if it's voted positively in both houses, then the president can't do another thing in Venezuela without the okay of Congress. We have to pass it.
President Trump say that he intends for the United States to run Venezuela. It was reckless. It was dangerous. And looking at the president's demeanor, he didn't even seem to be aware of how dangerous and reckless it is. Let me be clear. Maduro is an illegitimate dictator, but launching military action without congressional authorization, without a credible plan for what comes next, is reckless. Now, I was in the SCIF on 3 different occasions, as recently as December, and I asked the administration, I asked them, are you pursuing regime change? Are you intent on taking military action in Venezuela, Venezuelan territory? And they assured me that they were not pursuing those things. Clearly, they're not being straight with the American people. So I've been talking to so many members of my caucus today. Everybody is very, very just totally troubled, worried about how dangerous this is. Let me lay out just a few of the actions that have already been taken to hold the Trump administration accountable. First, Leader Jeffries and I called on the Trump administration to brief the Gang of Eight immediately followed shortly by a briefing for the entire Congress in the beginning of next week.
She brags about all the...
Man, who do you think you are? And then watch this. Y'all won't show the truth. Look at this Liberation Party. This is tens of thousands of people. But mainstream won't show you this. They are celebrating in Venezuela. The people here that occupied themselves in Miami, they are going back home because this man is gone. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's stop this. Then Obama says Trump has a history that needs to be examined. Oh, really? So Obama was a CIA asset put in place to destroy the U.S. Occidental College records sealed. Columbia College records sealed. Columbia thesis paper sealed. Harvard College paper sealed. Selective service registration sealed. Medical records sealed. Illinois State, let's see what it says. Illinois State Senate schedule sealed. Law practice client list sealed. Certified copy of original birth certificate sealed. Signed endorsed paper certificate of live birth sealed. Baptism sealed. Michelle Obama, Big Mike, can no longer practice law as an attorney. Why? Michelle has 22 assistants when other first ladies had only one. Come on, man. Y'all know why. Y'all know that's a man. And people get mad when I talk like that. But come on, man. What woman you know need 22 assistants? I swear they're going to try to crucify me for this. They're going to. But a Professor Henry Graff said, I taught at Columbia for 46 years. I taught every significant American politician that ever studied at Columbia. I know them all. I'm proud of them all. Between American history and diplomatic history, one way or another, they all had to come through my classes, not Obama. I never had a student with that name in any of my classes. I never met him, never saw him, never heard of him. None of the other Columbia professors knew him either. That's because his name was Barry Soreto, not Barack Obama. His name is Barry Soreto, not Barack Obama. Now watch this. This is going to really hurt you. Let's take it back to 2020. This is going to really bust your head.
My name is Brian McCaffrey. I'm a registered Democrat in the city of Philadelphia. Today, I'm at the Philadelphia Convention Center, and I am overseeing the ballot counters. I will let you know the corruption that is going on here. They will not allow us within 30 to 100 feet to supervise the ballots being counted. This is a coup against the President of the United States of America, and I want to call out the Mayor of Philadelphia, James Kenney, the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, who tweeted that there's no way Donald Trump can win President of the United States of America, and also the District Attorney of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner. I can't believe what I'm seeing right before my eyes. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This has to do with our democracy, and I will tell you, there is corruption at the highest level in the city of Philadelphia.
Wow. So watch this. And we got some more corruption going on. Let's go.
By a member of the Ukrainian parliament. Let's talk about the tape recording. Evidence.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know much about it because it's floating around Ukraine. But we do know the general prosecutor of Ukraine, our equivalent of the attorney general, came on our show this morning and said the following. There's enough evidence for me to open up a criminal investigation into the illicit effort by a Ukrainian to try to influence the United States election in favor of Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. That's a profound statement coming from the top law enforcement official of Ukraine. Why is it important? There's a court in Ukraine that's already concluded that Ukrainian officials leaked Paul Manafort's financial records to try to sway the U.S. election. You haven't heard anything about that in the American press, but that ruling occurred recently. Then a parliamentary member comes out and says, I have a tape of these law enforcement officials saying they did it specifically to help Hillary Clinton. That becomes the foundation of the Ukrainian
And
investigation.
you have talked to people that have heard this tape, correct?
Well, the prosecutor himself has heard the tape and said it was important enough, good enough evidence to warrant opening the investigation. So the tape, the court ruling, the top prosecutor in Ukraine says there was a foreign power.
Two separate issues here. Number one,
yes,
did Ukrainian officials offered us evidence that, in fact, they were involved in election interference in 2016 to help Hillary Clinton's campaign? But I didn't see anybody in the media pursue the interference story, and I thought they cared about interference, but obviously only if it's Russian interference in Trump, because we know they don't care about the dirty Russian dossier.
That's right. Keep in mind that just a few months ago, Sean, we reported on your show and Inside the Hill that Ukraine's embassy in Washington confirmed on the record that back in 2016, the Democratic National Committee, trying to help Hillary Clinton get elected, asked the Ukraine embassy to help interfere in the election by doing two things: dig up dirt on Paul Manafort and have Ukraine's president make a kerfuffle here in Washington about Manafort and Trump when he came to visit. Now, the Ukrainians say they rebuffed that attempt, but Hillary Clinton's campaign, the DNC, made that request, according to the Ukraine embassy in Washington.
Wow. So hold on. And we got some former Democrats that flipped red. Listen to how they went ham in Chicago. Check it out.
I guess $1 Million Tony couldn't make it today. She too busy loving her home she just got for $1 million, while we just received these high property tax bills. So we all here because of our property taxes. Some here, like Zoe and Miss Jessica, because y'all stealing Black people property. So I just want to know, because we just came from the city council meeting. We're coming there and the city is blaming the county. And now you just blaming Springfield. And then when all these people, when they go to these town hall meetings and you send your puppets, they lie and they blame the invisible white man. Somehow they are pushing us out of our community. They want our property. They want Black people property. They never say who it is. They just say, you know who they are. But when I come up in here, I see all Black faces. I see Democrats. So are we talking about the Democrats are pushing Black people out of their communities? The Democrats hate Black people. The Democrats want our property and replace us with illegal aliens, because you all come in these meetings talking about the invisible white person, but we don't never see him, but we see all of you all here. And then you sit here, all these Black faces, you sit here, all Democrats, and you sit here all arrogantly like your seats are secure, like we are not coming after these seats. Just like I told Brennan Johnson over there the first time I spoke on that mic, I said the same thing that's making y'all laugh in here gonna make y'all cry. And then you see what's happening. Same thing here. Now I'm giving y'all warning right here. The same thing that's making y'all laugh in here is gonna make y'all cry. Mark my words. See, y'all sit here too comfortably, thinking that everything, Black people stupid, that we don't understand what's going on, that we're going to vote blue no matter who. And all y'all got to do is use the race card. All y'all got to do is call white supremacy, the white man. But we're in a heavily Democratic city from top to bottom, state and city, all Democrats. So can we say that the Democrats are racist white men or white women? Who is it? Because this is what y'all telling us. So I'm letting you all know, Chicago flips red. We are not paying these taxes. We are calling for a boycott on these taxes. Nobody is playing this game no more. We won't pay our taxes until we get a forensic audit on where all our money is going. We're demanding that. We're asking President Trump to send the feds here.
30 seconds.
The DOJ here. We need a forensic audit on where our money is going. And we are not paying no property taxes. And we are calling for a boycott. And we're going around to every ward in the city and calling for it. You all going to learn to stop playing with us. And you all going to learn that you all work for us. And none of these seats secure. And we coming for those seats. And you could sit there like you sitting there, like you unbothered, all of you all. Yeah, but you getting up out of
Next
those
speaker is Dennis White.
So yeah. Now, Chicago ain't playing. But then in Chicago, something else happened. And I can't make this up. More than a dozen faith leaders, pastors, gathered outside of Trump Tower in Chicago yesterday to protest 100% property tax hikes voted in by the Democrats. Let's listen to what they say. I can't believe this.
Poor residents on the west side and south side have been targeted. Unfortunately, this is a blue state, and many of us have supported these elected officials.
The religious leaders point the finger at the Cook County Assessor's Office and the County Board of Review for giving places like Trump Tower a break. Now, the Cook County Assessor, Fritz Kagi, responded with a statement pointing the finger elsewhere, saying, quote, "These property tax increases hitting South and West Side homeowners are flat out unfair, and they're the direct result of huge cuts that the Board of Review commissioners gave to large corporations."
Poor residents.
So what did Trump got to do with what y'all voted for? So let's go there. Let's take it through there. I just want to know, what did Trump got to do with who y'all voted for that made sure y'all taxes went up? Just like y'all in New York, y'all was talking about, oh, we gonna have free, what is it? Free bus rides, free train rides. That joint done went up triple now. It's $3 one way on a bus, $7 one way on the train. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy as hell. So, and we all know the transsexual person. And the DEI admiral has been administratively discharged without rank or pension. After a long court battle, Admiral Alexandria Josephine Baroun is finally a permanent private citizen. The War Department's website has already been scrubbed of any mention that this fictitious person ever existed as a U.S. service member. So this person got scrubbed of all of her medals and everything because she lied about it all. All right. So while we on that, this is where your tax money was going through. Check this out.
You're getting rid of $5.5 million to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex advocacy in Uganda, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I can't believe we're arguing about this. I can't believe we're arguing about this. PEPFAR, we're not denying life-saving care to anybody, are we?
No, and $10 billion would remain for that funding.
Whoa. So they cut $5.5 million to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex advocacy in Uganda. But then this dude just said, well, $10 million gonna be on the side for that. Thank God Doge stepped in and cut that out. So here's the video that people don't want you to see. And I'm gonna make it big. Check it out.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. We have responsibility, Terry.
So now we know.
Have any...
So now we know who's responsible for January the 6th. Now we know. What in the world? Hold on, wait a minute. I gotta hear this. A patient frantically escaped from the hospital, uncovering the terrifying secrets hidden within his walls. Hold on, wait a minute. Let's see what happened.
Shocking news. A 42-year-old mechanic escaped from a hospital in the northern United States in a state of panic, shouting, "They want to take my organs." At first, police believed he was delirious after a minor accident, but 2 hours later, a raid changed everything. The man, Mark Delcourt, was admitted for a minor injury, but his file had been altered to irrecoverable, and he was moved to a technical/maintenance wing. The doors were locked. The cameras were turned away. Mark heard two people whispering, "No family, we start tonight." In panic, he ripped out his IV, crawled into a ventilation duct, and escaped. Police thought he was still panicking, but Mark insisted there are more people alive in there. At 0047, a special tactical unit raided the basement. They found 4 patients strapped down, one lying on a table next to a tray of surgical tools stained with dried blood. Behind a false wall, they discovered a secret room containing 6 unregistered medical refrigerators and 28 files marked with a red X. The American public is in shock. A hospital, supposedly the safest place, suddenly appears to be the most dangerous for patients without family by their side.
Whoa. What the heck? Whoa. Whoa, wait a minute. Now let's look at this Insurrection Act. Because they keep saying, buckle up, everybody. Anonymous explaining the Insurrection Act and what Trump can do based on his legalities that are part of the act. Trump is about to act, and it's about to get really good. Everything they told us is happening right now. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's see what it say.
Let's set the record straight. The Insurrection Act isn't a loophole. It's the law. It's the safeguard our founders built to preserve the Union when states refuse to protect the rights of their citizens or enforce federal law. Under normal conditions, the military doesn't act as police. That's what the Posse Comitatus Act prevents. But when governors or mayors abandon their duty, when violence, defiance, or political theater make enforcement impossible, the Insurrection Act allows the president to act, not to conquer the states, but to restore order, protect citizens, and reestablish the rule of law. Here's how it works. There are 3 legal pathways for invoking it. 1, when a state requests help during rebellion or unrest. 2, when federal law can't be enforced by normal means because of obstruction or rebellion. And 3, when state leaders refuse to protect constitutional rights or defy federal authority altogether. Before troops move, the president must first issue a public proclamation ordering agitators to disperse, a final warning before action. It's not martial law. Civilian government continues. Military's role is supportive, not supreme. And the president's power is still bound by the Constitution, judicial review, and public accountability. The act has been used by Presidents Jefferson, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, and Bush Sr., always to uphold the law when local leaders fail to. Today, as some governors and mayors threaten federal officers, ignore immigration law, and even promise to prosecute ICE agents, the stage is set for another showdown. If that moment comes, the Insurrection Act is the legal mechanism that defines where state defiance ends and federal authority begins. My friends, we are all anonymous, and remember, law without enforcement is chaos, and the Insurrection Act exists to prevent exactly that.
Whoa. That's going to be steep. Now let's hear what Trump.
No matter how many surgeries you have or chemicals you inject, if you're born with male DNA in every cell of your body, you can never become a woman. You're not going to be a woman.
Yo, Trump crazy. Trump crazy. Trump crazy. And Trump don't care. But hold on. I guess people be forgetting, right? That we hold on to everything. So this is when Biden and his regime got tough. Check it out.
Quickly turn to Venezuela, where Maduro once again demonstrated his complete disregard for democratic norms and proceeded with his illegitimate inauguration. As President Biden emphasized during his meeting with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia on Monday, January 6, we believe that it is essential that the will of the Venezuelan people is respected. In coordination with our partners, we've given Maduro and his representatives every opportunity to restore democracy, but they haven't. So today we are building on all of our previous actions and taking further major actions. We announced new sanctions on key Maduro-aligned officials as a part of our efforts to hold them accountable, and we imposed more visa restrictions totaling nearly 2,000 individuals. We also increased the reward amount to $25 million for Nicolas Maduro and his so-called Minister of Interior as part of the Department of State's Narcotics Rewards program.
Wow. So I have a question. If Trump goes to get him because Biden was scared to do it, and then Biden jacked up a bounty on his head, why are Democrats so upset? That's my question. Why is the Democrats so upset? Now, last thing I'm going to do is prove y'all that everybody that came against me was nothing but an agitator, right? I told y'all that 9/11 was a setup, not by Osama bin Laden, but by the Bushes and the highest level of government, right? Check this out. This guy is one of the highest levels that was there. Check it out.
Actually, I had quite an illustrious career, 27 and a half years in the FBI. And in those 27 and a half years, I had 13 assignments. So I moved around the country. The only part of the country I never did live in was really the extreme Northeast U.S. So also during my career, I handled just about everything. I was counter-espionage, counter-terrorism in New York and Connecticut, and I negotiated with some skyjackers at Philadelphia International Airport for 2.5 hours, July the 12th, 1972. And I ended up being in charge of most of Southern California, had over 700 personnel under my command. I personally investigated the Oklahoma City bombing case, huge cover-up. Jack Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. Bobby Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. World Trade Center, huge cover-up. Okay, terrorism. They're using it as an excuse to take away our constitutional rights and our civil liberties. The Bilderbergs. I'm Ted L. Gunderson, a 27-year veteran of the FBI who retired in March of 1979. At the time of my retirement, I was the senior special agent in charge of the FBI Los Angeles Division with more than 700 personnel under my command and a budget of $22.5 million. I was an agent on the street for 9.5 years, and then I advanced administratively. I was a supervisor, and then I was number 2 man in Connecticut and Philadelphia, and assistant special agent in charge was the title. And then I became a chief inspector, and then I was agent in charge in Memphis, Dallas, and the senior special agent in charge in Los Angeles, because I had 3 other special agents in charge under me and 24 supervisors under them. I have information chiseled in stone, documented, that the FBI had advanced knowledge about 911 and did nothing to prevent this from occurring. And this is atrocious. It's unbelievable, having been a former FBI agent myself. And it's very obvious that this whole thing is being orchestrated by the powers that be at the highest level of our government. And I want the world to know about it. The minute I saw the planes fly in to the tower on television, live as a matter of fact, the question I had in my mind was, there is no way, absolutely no way, that somebody could skyjack 4 planes, 20 people, skyjack 4 planes, in this case 19 individuals, and our government would not know about it in advance. We have, the U.S. government, the most advanced intelligence techniques of anybody in the world. And you will never convince me we didn't have advanced knowledge about what was going on. We saw the airplanes go in, and it's also a question about whether they're remotely controlled. I don't know about that. I hate to comment on something where I have no documentation, but there's much more to this story than has come out so far. You will never in a million years convince me that those buildings, those towers, collapsed because those planes hit them. I'm confident that they were imploded. As a matter of fact, there were seismograph readings they think from the basement, 2 of them, about the time that the buildings collapsed.
Wow.
There were also molten steel that was in the basement, which is a very high temperature for melting steel. And those planes hit above the 80th floor, so there's no way that airplane fuel could have dropped down that low. Also, there were fires that burned in the basement for some 100 days afterwards. So there's some implication. There's some finagling. There's some maneuvering, as far as I'm concerned. And there are many, many more people involved in this than these so-called skyjackers and terrorists. The anti-terrorism legislation was written back in the middle 1980s under the George Bush Sr. administration. A female Department of Justice attorney, who was one of the authors, made the statement publicly: before this passes Congress, people have to be killed. Now, if we fast forward to a World Trade Center car bombing in February 1993, at that time, the FBI had a 43-year-old former Egyptian army officer as an informant who was in with the terrorists. He was commissioned by the terrorists to put the bomb together. He went to his FBI superiors: we're going to use a dummy bomb, right? And they said, no, we're going to use a real bomb. So the FBI not only knew in advance that they were going to bomb the World Trade Center, they furnished the ingredients for the bomb, which is absolutely unbelievable that they get away with this. What's unbelievable about it is this was actually printed in the New York Times on October 28, 1993. But they got away with it. And if I was a congressman or senator, I would demand an investigation. Why would the FBI furnish the ingredients for the bomb that brought down or that had damaged the World Trade Center in February 1993? We had 6 people killed there. We had 1,000 people injured. We had a total of 6 citizens who died in the February 1993 World Trade Center car bombing. We had $1,000 worth of 1,000 individuals were injured. We had $500,000 in damage. But there weren't enough people who died to pass the anti-terrorism legislation. So now we fast forward to April the 19th, 1995, Oklahoma City bombing. We had 169 people who died, probably 169 because there was one leg they never did identify. And a year later, the anti-terrorism legislation passed. Now, it wasn't tough enough. I can't prove that there were explosives that were placed in the World Trade Center in the 9/11 situation. However, from what I've seen, an expert on implosions from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who worked for the government under government contract, stated immediately afterwards that the buildings were imploded. And then he retracted his statement and said, well, maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Basically, now he's saying that they weren't imploded. But other experts who have looked at the pictures say that the buildings were imploded. I think that in order to implode those buildings, there had to be implications, government implications or involvement in placing these charges. I mean, that was a tremendous project. I mean, I don't know how many people would be involved in that. Going back to Oklahoma City, an inside investigator told me there were at least 11 other people involved in the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, if you have 11 other people involved in Oklahoma City, you're going to have 3 or 4 times that involved in the World Trade Center situation.
That's an implosion.
Going back to Oklahoma City, the government claimed that there was a fertilizer, ammonia nitrate fertilizer bomb in the truck. Initially, it came out, I think, with 1,500 pounds, and then it's 2,500 pounds.
I'm going to pause this, and then I'm going to pick it back up tomorrow. And we're going to run it back some more. I got some more stuff to show y'all. Listen, I told y'all I don't be playing about the stuff that's going on, man. And right now, I know some people don't like Trump, but that man needs all of us right now and to actually understand what's going on and to understand how it's going on, so that way if you see something, you can either prevent it or you can say something. With that being said, it's so much that I can say. There's so much that I can do. But what I will say is tomorrow I will show the video of when they blew the lid off of all of the Americans that gets paid by Maduro to cheat and to do false things. With that being said, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Be someone important. Be yourself. Dana J out. Peace.
You ain't fucking with me. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you ain't fucking with me. It's only one of y'all. I'm a one-on-one. Don't need to call me twin. It's Sean. You ain't fucking with me. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you ain't fucking with me. It's only one of y'all. I'm a one-on-one. Don't need to call me twin.
I'm out, y'all. Have a good night. Dream Team for life.